We did it, Joe. I never want to hear that protests don't work again because all it took was a little sidewalk chalk to run Stephen and Katie Miller straight out of town. It's only Monday, and I've already got a week's worth of material to cover because Trump is in major cognitive decline. He's talking in every other sentence. It just leads where another one accidentally begins. Trump's been busy challenging members of Congress to IQ tests, threatening to unleash what he and his people are calling the ultimate authoritarian move, and revealed he believed he can personally fire and replace elected officials in DC who are not federal employees or appointed by him as president. Just another day creating content from the depths of hell. But first, let's take a look at the Millers. That's Katie Miller. And if you thought being married to Stephen Miller was rock bottom, she also worked for Elon Musk and quit to launch a podcast. And she did so claiming that there is no place for conservative women to gather online, which would be news to the millions of women already watching Brett Cooper, Candace Owen, Barry Weiss, and the entire tradwife economy on TikTok. Her first episode featured 44 minutes of JD Vance discussing pancakes and the revelation that Stephen Miller apparently survives on mayonnaise alone, which feels slightly cannibalistic. And all it took to run her out of town was some colorful chalk that said, DEI makes us better, and being too dense to discover that sidewalk chalk is in fact washable. The man who probably could not change a tire if he had a pew-pew to his head, who built his entire career telling people that they don't belong here, has apparently decided that he doesn't belong in his $3.75 million Arlington home anymore either. The architect of Trump's cruel immigration crackdown is selling his 6,000 square foot house after neighbors left terrifying messages on the sidewalk outside of his property. Haunting, spooky messages like, "We love immigrants" and "Hate has no home in Arlington." Truly chilling stuff. Miller's wife, Katie, previously declared that the family would not back down in the face of these peaceful chalk protests in the video that we just rolled a moment ago, heroically defeating the message with a garden hose. She captioned it, "We will not cower in fear. We will double down." But we, the people, have won, and they're doubling down by moving out. The custom-built home features a Southern California aesthetic, 6 bedrooms, a boutique-style dressing room, and a spa-inspired bath, and comprehensive security. Apparently, the comprehensive security doesn't include protection from dollar store chalk. To be fair, the Millers, living in a county where 78% of the voters backed Kamala Harris, must be challenging when your day job involves separating families in detention centers. Miller's own cousin called him the face of evil, which has got to make Thanksgiving a little awkward. But sure, the sidewalk chalk, that's the real problem here. The messages were temporary, they were visible, and they were easily removable with water, by the way. Much like one might say, the administration's commitment to staying in neighborhoods where people can express their First Amendment right. The bottom line, nothing says we will not back down quite like putting your house on the market. And then there's Trump, who's been on one. Cut to the clip.
Know that things feel like they're going well, but we don't have any data. The government is shut down. How long is this going to last?
Yeah, look, the Democrats are kamikazes right now. They're kamikaze pilots right now. They have nothing going. They have no future. They have incompetent candidates. I mean, I looked at Crockett, Jasmine Crockett. She's a very low IQ person. She's polling okay in the Democrat Party. I can't even believe it. AOC is... I watched her the other day. It's like, you got to be kidding. This is not going to make our country great. And for us to have a communist mayor, it looks like we're going to in New York. He's not a socialist. He's a communist. And it'll be very interesting. But remember.
So Trump has been extra obsessed with AOC and Jasmine Crockett lately, demanding they take IQ tests and bragging about passing one himself. He allegedly passed what's called the Montreal Cognitive Assessment, which is a dementia screening tool. You identify animals, you draw a clock. One of the animals he had to identify was a camel. That's right. Trump successively pointed to a camel and said, "Camel," and then probably got a red 40 lollipop and a sticker. So, of course, when Trump challenged Crockett to take an IQ test, she said she would absolutely do it. head-to-head against him. And we're still waiting on that one, Donald. And if you need a refresher, Jasmine Crockett has a BA and a law degree. She passed the bar and was a civil rights attorney who worked as a public defender. AOC graduated cum laude from Boston University with a dual degree in economics and a dual degree in international relations. Trump has spent years keeping his own academic records sealed. His former fixer, my pal Michael Cohen, testified that Trump literally threatened schools to never release his grades or SAT scores. Crockett put it perfectly. I have earned my degree. My daddy didn't have to make one phone call to get me into anything. Of course. And then Trump also went on to go after Zoran Mondani, calling him a communist, which is Trump speak for somebody who thinks that people deserve healthcare. This is what it really is. It's billionaires versus everyone else. And Trump's on the side of billionaires and sex pests, desperately trying to paint anyone who wants working people to have a decent life of some sort as a radical threat. And yet all of this, still no Epstein files, still in the middle of a government shutdown, but it gets worse. He's claiming unquestionable power and threatening to invoke the Insurrection Act because why not?
Don't forget, and I haven't used it, but don't forget, I can use the Insurrection Act. 50% of the presidents almost have used that. And that's unquestioned power. I choose not to. I'd rather do this. But I'm met constantly by fake politicians that think that, it's not like a part of the radical left movement to have safety. These cities have to be safe.
Okay, so using the Insurrection Act against No Kings protesters is authoritarian shit. The Insurrection Act was designed for real emergencies such as civil wars, stopping KKK terrorism, not for millions of Americans peacefully exercising their First Amendment rights, and some of them in frog costumes. Trump claims it gives him unquestioned power, but that is false. It doesn't let him suspend the Constitution, close the courts, or become a dictator. The law still applies. Thank God for that. And federal judges have already looked at the facts and blocked his attempts to claim these protesters are insurrectionists, saying they don't meet the legal standard for rebellion. And the best part of this all, in his brain, in cognitive decline, he went a little journey in the middle of his rant and he got a little lost. And he literally forgot the point that he was trying to make while threatening military action, of course. Here we are. But somehow it gets even worse for the man who approaches long words the way normal people approach rabid animals, slowly and with fear in his eye. Every syllable is an adventure that sometimes is abandoned halfway through. All right, final clip. His grand finale. I'd explain it, but I don't fully understand what the hell is going on either. So cut to the clip.
So, Mr. President, now the 30 days is up. And does everything, is everything...
Well, the mayor's asked us to stay.
Well, how do you...
So we have a Democrat mayor who's asked us to stay. And D.C.'s a little bit different because I could federalize it if I want. D.C.'s a little bit different. So we have a lot. We have actually more power in D.C. because it's, I can change the mayor if I want. I can do whatever I want. I haven't had to. We've had a great relationship with the mayor. We've had a great relationship. Everybody's happy. And the mayor was not in favor of it. At first we, forced, and then she saw the results. And everyone's going up and thanking her. We have no crime anymore. People that were afraid to leave, they have themselves locked in their house. And by the way, they have guns to protect themselves. If they didn't have guns, the bad guys know that Mrs. Jones, who's 85 years old, is sitting in a chair with a gun in her hand, and they leave her alone, okay? If she didn't have a gun, they wouldn't leave her alone. But D.C. is a great example. The mayor is a very liberal person, was not in favor of this. And now all of a sudden she's being praised by the people in the community. Everybody wants, who doesn't want it to happen? Like in Chicago, if you took a poll, do you want to have no crime or do you want to walk outside and get mugged or killed? I mean, they're losing 6, 7, 8, 9 people every week. And 30 or 40 are being shot. That's worse than Afghanistan.
Trump says he can fire the mayor of Washington, D.C., which is impressive considering that's not a thing that he can do. The D.C. mayor is elected by residents and not hired through the White House or their HR department. The city has its own local government under something called home rule, meaning even presidents have to just live with whoever the D.C. voters pick. Democracy. In other words, Trump seems to think that the nation's capital works like one of his golf clubs. If he doesn't like the management, he can swap them out or sexually harass them until they leave. It's a confident misunderstanding of how government functions when their leader is not playing with a full deck of cards. But hey, at least we learned something really important this week. Stephen Miller may try to separate families in the most cruel and distorted way possible, but he draws the line firmly at neighborhoods who write, "People deserve to be treated as people," and washable chalk. Truly a man of principle. And if this keeps coming up, threatening elected officials, peaceful protesters, and basic civil rights, maybe we'll all soon be house hunting in Canada too. And the Millers can show us how it's done. And if you've enjoyed this video, please subscribe. I am Loren P across all social channels, including here on YouTube. We do not have the Loren Piretra Show anymore, so sub here. We post daily, and we believe families belong together and that Stephen Miller is a loser.
Love this video? Support independent media and unlock exclusive content, ad-free videos, and custom emojis by becoming a paid member of our YouTube channel today. You can also gift memberships to others. Let's keep growing together.